Alright everybody, we're doing another episode of Butt Crack Cycles, though today we are not working on any motorcycles. We're working on this truck right behind me. This is my 95 F250. You can see that the hood is up on it. And let me turn the camera around, we'll talk about what we're doing. So, I'm in the process of converting this truck to a second service truck to go along with my F350. I don't know which episode is going to get published first, so this one though is about some under the hood work that we're doing to the old 7.3 Powerstroke. Gonna try and get a little more power out of it. We're gonna do some injectors and put a turbo on it too while we're there. This thing has been giving me some issues cold starting. Pretty sure I have at least one injector going out on it. We'll talk about that a little bit more here in a minute, but for now let's stop talking and start working. Also, before we get too far into this, I just wanted to show y'all what this truck is currently equipped with. We have a PHP Hydra, just running the regular Hydra tune library. There's a digital EGT gauge over there. Comes in kind of weird since it's LED. And then, I don't know if you could hear the pump running. We have a Marty's diesel, I think is the name of the company, Marty's Diesel Performance, something like that. That's the name. E-fuel setup on this thing with the fuel bowl delete. And then you might have noticed this earlier when I was talking, but got rid of the old crush downpipe and put a full round downpipe in it. Other than that, this truck is totally stock. So I'm just going to kind of talk about why I'm doing this while I work. You might notice also that I have the belt off this idler pulley. I don't know if that comes through well on camera, but it's starting to make some noise, so I got another one of those that we'll replace it with. But as far as why I'm doing this, I bought this truck last September, I think. It's like the end of May right now as I'm filming this, so I've had it like 9 months maybe. And it left me and my son on the side of the road back in November of last year. It wasn't making good fuel pressure. Ended up deleting the fuel bowl and the factory lift pump setup and replacing it with e-fuel setup. And getting the truck going again, but while it was broken, it ran for a while, I would say, with like 10 pounds of fuel pressure while I was trying to troubleshoot it, and just, you know, the day that it broke down and left us in the side of the road. And since then, it has gotten sort of harder and harder and harder to start when cold. It's gotten worse and worse and worse, and this morning got so bad that the point I didn't think the truck was going to start, and then it started, and once it was running, it was misfiring and just kind of cutting up and not acting right, so it's not good. Let's see if it'll start this time. Come on, baby. There it goes. Jesus. Got a whole set of injectors inside in a box, and also have a new turbocharger. Alright, so we've got all the intake pipes off. You just need to unplug your injector wiring harnesses. That guy right there goes to your exhaust back pressure valve, which we're going to be deleting. I will also note that the bolt that goes right here is a whole lot easier to do and get out if you remove your crankcase breather filter. So that was a great time to reseal this. Okay, it's time to actually pull the injectors. I'm going to show you all this just on this one right here. Pull this Allen bolt out of the top side of the injector, the inboard side. It's a 5mm Allen that holds your injector spill port. These are not made into the injectors. We'll just put that, kind of place that aside. And then your actual hold down bolt right there. These are 8mm, or if you're like me and you're metrically challenged, 5/16. It's hard to see it from this angle. There is a second hold down bolt up there, but you can take your hold down and just kind of push it up, and it's slotted. You'll see it when you're working on your engine, and then that way your hold down will clear that bolt. Just get your lady's foot pry bar, and careful on your wires if you're trying to reuse them. Get under your hold down. Oh, that should have been the last little bit of it. This is probably actually easier. Yeah, there we go. If you pull the under valve cover harness all the way off. Alright, so there's all 8 of our injectors out of the engine, and you can see that it looks like, if I had to guess, I would say that 6 of these are the original injectors. This one has definitely been replaced. This looks like an aftermarket injector. It says SMP on the solenoid. It has an AA code solenoid, which is a little interesting. And this one looks like it's been replaced too. That actually looks like a Motorcraft injector. It has a Ford part number down the side of it. Obviously the O-rings are different colors, but yeah, those have been in there a while. This truck has 250-something thousand miles on it. But before we can put the new ones in, we've got some more work to do, and some cleaning to do. We got to get all the old oil and fuel out of the cylinders, so let's do that. Okay, glow plugs are out and laying on the table, and I just wanted to show you all a couple of these. These 3, the back 3 on the passenger side, are just trashed, completely burnt through. These are doinked. Okay, time to get started cleaning up. So I'm just going to show you all on this one cylinder because it's easy to film. Get your snot sucker, shove it down in there. See, this is like a big giant syringe. I got this at Harbor Freight. It's like $8. Oh yeah. And what we want to do, look at all that. Let's go down the line, one cylinder at a time, and we're just gonna suck the snot out of all 4 on this side. All right, so once you're satisfied that you've gotten the stuff sucked out, we're gonna put some more stuff back in. And normally, I say normally, if I was doing this on a 3126, this is what I would do. So this is what I'm doing on this old International, because it's a very similar engine. Anyways, squirt just a little bit of brake clean down it, and then get you the correct size bore brush. And we just want to, you know, scrub that injector cup. Don't go crazy with it. Do a little bit more on this one. There's still some crud in the bottom of it that I didn't get, but just get it clean, and then once it's clean, take a little more brake clean, squirt it down in there. I normally take a blue rag and a long set of needle nose pliers and just kind of put it down in there and turn it around just to dry the cup out, and then pull it out. And then after you're done with that, go back through with your snot sucker and suck all of them out again. I'm going to throw glow plugs in next. Please, please, please buy actual Motorcraft glow plugs. My dealer got me these for $155 out the door. So, I mean, that's cheap. You can't beat that. Anyways, some guys leave the glow plugs out when they're doing injectors, so they want to spin the engine over with the glow plugs out. I don't really think we need to do that. I'll show you what to do, or what I'm going to do rather, to prime this up. There's no point in even videoing this. It's straightforward. Throw them in, torque them, go. So let's check out our injectors. These came from CNC Fabrication. They're out of Ohio. They flow test all of their injectors, like I think anyone should do, and then they give you a printout of what yours tested. And there we go. Full set of 8 injectors ready to go in. These are 160/30, so 160 cc with 30% larger than stock nozzles. I think this is going to be good for my application. Alright, time to put them back in. Again, I'm just going to be working on this one side of the engine. I will note too, don't know if it comes through well on camera. These injectors have a serial number on them stamped on the hold down, along with the CNC Fab logo, and then this one's 6, so they're numbered per the flow bench test. I'm actually going to put them into the engine in that same order. I really don't think this matters, but this might be nice just in case I do have a problem in the future. I'm going to save that flow test chart. Okay, injectors are in on this side and torques. The injector hold downs are 10 foot-pounds, 120 inch-pounds. Then the little oil spill port adapters are 9 foot-pounds. I'm going to turn the camera off and get to work though, because I've only just been working on this side just for ease of videotaping, and I feel like this video is getting pretty long. So I'm going to bust butt on the other side, and they'll get started back there on the turbo probably. Alright, so all of my injectors are in, all 8. And I'm laying on the ground underneath this thing. Oops. With a big ratchet on the crankshaft damper. And we're just gonna spin this thing over. Ah shit, it's in gear. Let me take it out of gear. Take 2. We're gonna spin this thing over by hand a few rounds. A lot of people leave the glow plugs out to do this. It does make it easier to spin, but I'm not doing that. So we just want to spin it over a couple times to make sure we don't have any fluid sitting on top of the pistons, so we don't hydrolock this thing when we crank it up. Alright, so I took a little lunch break. Got the valve covers back on, but they are not tight. I've got 2 or 3 bolts on each side. I want to run this thing and then go back through and do a hot retorque of the injectors. But first we're going to go back here to the turbocharger. Got the intake Y off, obviously. There's 4 bolts that hold the pedestal down. Obviously take your downpipe clamp off. The top 2 bolts back here on the turbo are 13s, at least on mine. Fairly easy to get to. The bottom ones are 15s though. You need a wobble for it. I'm going to pull those off now. So I got one of the bolts out, but I snapped this wobble socket clean in half. Trying to get the other one out. Obviously this is a 1/2-inch ratchet with a, with a reducer. Yeah, what sucks about this is that the other half of this wobble socket is stuck back there. On that bolt, and I really have like absolutely no way to get to it. I'm probably gonna go inside and drink some water and take a break. It's like, I don't know, it's like 90 degrees outside in the direct sun. Alright, so I finally got the other half of this socket off of there. Bring it out here in the sun where y'all can see it. I ended up pulling the downpipe off. I got this little lady's foot back in there and was able to get a hammer on it kind of from the side where the downpipe was and just whammer blammer it until finally this jumped off of there. But this was my only 15mm wobble socket. A universal joint with a short socket won't get it. There's not enough room back there for a long wrench. I can get this little short stubby wrench on it, but I don't have enough ass to turn it. So I hosed it down with a PB blaster, and my wife's going to get Kenneth right now. She's going to bring me back another wobble socket. Hopefully I don't bust that one in half too. So while I'm waiting on her to come back from the store with our tool, I figured we would try and be at least productive here. Brought this up on the porch where it's in the shade and a little bit cooler. Got our turbo pedestal, all of our stuff in the kit, new bolts, new boot. And I haven't actually said what the turbo is. This is a KC turbo, one of their drop-in deals. It's the, I think they call it like the K300X. It's like a S300 Warner style turbo, but it drops in. This is what they call their stage 1. It's a 6370, so this is the smallest one they offer, and I picked that because I want to try and get as much low range out of this as possible. Alright, so we're gonna squirt a little bit of oil in the turbo. Just kind of oil our O-rings too while we're here. And spin the turbo around a time or two just to get some of that oil up into that center cartridge. And make sure our bearings have a little lubrication for startup. As always, handy dandy torque wrench. We'll torque these bolts down. Alright, so continuing on with sort of the theme of stuff we can do while we're waiting on a tool. I've got a laptop. USB cable goes over to the Hydra. Like I said, this truck already has a PHP Hydra tuner on it. So we're going to go to Hydra Flash here on my desktop. Those tunes are set up for stock injectors. So you go over here to change. I have paid for the extended tune library, and it says it down here, expanded library loaded successfully. And then you come up here and you have to search by your calibration. So you need to know the box code off your ECM. Mine's MLE1, which gives me a VDAB0202, I think is what it is. There we go, VDAB0_02. You have standard calibrations up here first. And then with the expanded tune library, we can come down here. ECM calibrations for different injectors. So this is a 160cc injector with 0% nozzles, 160cc with 30% nozzles, which is what we have. You can see they have 180s all the way down to 250, 100% is the biggest injector that they support with their expanded tune library. So once you go through and you pick out all the tunes that you want and the position you want them on, you go over here to program and you hit program. Maybe I didn't click it. There it goes. Programming, calibrations, processing, and it'll sit here and go. So we'll load that into the ECM and we should be ready to go once we get this put back together. Tiffany came back from the store with the socket, so I've spent the last hour or so, 45 minutes, actually getting this the rest of the way loose. Oh man, those back bolts on that pedestal, God almighty, were those a pain. There it goes. Oh, Jesus. Oh. I'm gonna spend a couple minutes getting all that oil cleaned up that's in there, and then put the new one back on. This old turbo is a greasy, oily, nasty mess, and the exhaust back pressure valve on this thing likes to hang sometimes, so I'm not sad to see this one go. This will be much nicer. Okay, everything's wrapped up on the turbo, the belt's put back on. We're gonna leave the come on camera, we're gonna leave the injector wiring harnesses undone on both sides, and go grab the laptop and get hooked up to the ECM, and we'll spin this thing over till we get some good HUE pressure. Obviously with the electric fuel pump we'll be able to make fuel pressure really easy, but we need to make high pressure oil first, and then we'll plug the injectors back in and actually try and start this thing. Okay, so I am connected to the engine ECM. I'm using a Nexic COM adapter. You can do this with like a cheaper Amazon one. I just have that for stuff I usually work on. And then I'm using ForScan here is the program, and we're gonna spin this thing over until we see some good injection control pressure, some HUE pressure. It's smoky. All right, there we go. Ready to go now. Let's give it a try. Might have to tow me home. There's definitely still some oil in this air. I mean, air in this oil. The HUE pressure's still a little erratic, but
better. I didn't replace the belt. Maybe I just need to throw a belt on it now that I fixed that idler fully. I'd love to have a camera where y'all can see the tailpipe, see the smoke. It's pretty smoky right now. So that was kind of coming up a little small hill in fifth gear. Just kind of rolling into the throttle from about 1500 RPM to 2000. And it made 9 pounds of boost. It was quite smoky while doing so. Boost. I made 16 to 18 on the stock turbo in a similar tune. It's really smoky doing it too. I don't know if I have a boost leak. I have a exhaust drive pressure leak, which I don't think I do. I guess it's possible that where I bolted the turbo up to the the manifold flange on the up pipes, that might be leaking. Circle up here and pretty good straightaway. Alright, so it's a couple days later, and I grabbed a spray bottle with some soapy water in it, and just sprayed down everything and pressurized the intake system, the pressurized air side of things. Anyways, and what I found was I had a leak there. This was bubbling. There we go. So sort of the worm gear end of this, like this part, wasn't coming through all the way. It was stopped somewhere in there. I took the clamp off and just kind of messed with it and got it reseated. Got everything in your intake plenum seated back on together. I think I'm going to replace these boots here. These are pretty old. They don't seem like they have any holes through them, but I put this all back together, tightened it all down with a nut driver instead of a screwdriver this time, snugged up the boost tube. I also took a flashlight and looked around all back behind the inlet to the turbine housing back there along the firewall and at like the up pipes and stuff, looking for soot. I don't see any. These up pipes were not leaking before, though it's possible I've disturbed something by, removing the factory turbo. But I'm about to go over to my buddy Sean's house. We're working on converting this truck to a service bed, and the bed's over at his house and his dad's barn. So I'm going to drive this thing over there and see if it does any better. Like it pulled
pulls pretty good if you can keep it over 2,000 and keep the turbo really spooling, which is kind of how it was before. It's maybe a little bit better. But like right now, we've slowed back down to 40 miles an hour. We're in 5th gear, 1,500 RPM. You just kind of lean into it. It pulls, but it's smoky and it's hot. That was 974. I don't know. This might be in the tune. I might have a pipe leaking that I haven't found yet. I'm gonna turn the camera off though and keep driving. Okay, so I'm leaving my buddy Sean's house, working on the service body. A couple hours today. And I got there, he wanted to look under the hood and see the new turbo and all, and he actually noticed, he's like, hey dude, your air filter binder is sucked all the way in. And we reset it, pulled the air cleaner, it seems okay. I mean, it's a little dirty, but not terrible. It's like, I wonder if this thing is just can't suck through the stock filter box. So for just as a quick test, this is free. I just pulled the top half of the filter off, so we're just running an open tube to the turbo. Nope. Just to give you all an idea of how bad this is. I don't know if you can see it in the mirror. Throttle, and we're not too high up on the tune list either. I feel like this should be much cleaner than this. This thing is still pouring smoke. Yeah, that's terrible. I'm back home. It's a couple of days later. I've been driving the truck some more. I've done some more troubleshooting on it. And all of that's going to be in a future episode. This episode has gotten too long. But basically where we're at is the turbo is on, the injectors are in. The injectors seem like they're doing perfectly fine. They can definitely move some fuel. But I am just not really happy with the amount of smoke that this truck makes. Seems like it's actually making pretty good boost numbers, and it has good power. It's just way too smoky, and the EGTs are too hot. So we're going to do another episode on diagnosing this and resolving this and getting this to where this truck is actually drivable in a day-to-day, pretty heavy application. That's it. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time. Have a great day. Bye.